Revelio.
You'll never believe what I've learned.
What did you discover in the spellbook we found in the scriptorium?
Salazar Slytherin's spellbook was a little difficult to interpret, but fascinating. Evidently, he encouraged teaching dark magic at Hogwarts. Neither the Imperious Curse nor the Killing Curse was unforgivable during his time. He believed students should be prepared to use dark magic when necessary, not to fear it. That's why we had to use Crucio to gain access to the scriptorium. He didn't want his knowledge shared with anyone who was afraid of the power of dark magic.
I know we had to do it to open the scriptorium, but it's not something I'd want to repeat.
And I'm glad we did it, because in the spellbook I also found something else. References to a lost relic, which, from what I can tell, grants the holder the power to reverse dark magic curses.
And you think this relic might be able to save Anne?
Precisely. I plan to search for this relic, but I don't think we should tell anyone. Especially Ominous. He wouldn't understand.
I see no reason to involve Ominous.
I'm glad you agree. When I know more, I shall send an owl. And don't feel sorry for Ominous. Keeping this to ourselves for now is for his own good.
I'll decide what's for my own good.
Ominous, we were just about to get some air. Care to join?
You're a liar, Sebastian. I heard everything. You swore you'd never engage in anything to do with dark magic again.
No, I didn't. I said I understood you wanting that. I'd never swear to give up on finding a cure for Anne.
You don't know when to stop, do you?
I know when not to stop. Leave this alone, Ominous. I'll be on my way.
I am not letting this go.
Ominous, Sebastian meant well.
I know what I heard. You knew I wouldn't agree with this. Going after that relic is not a good idea. Sebastian doesn't even realize it, but he's as irresponsible and reckless now as his parents were years ago. It's why they died.
Poor Anne and Sebastian.
That's why I can't understand Sebastian's recklessness. I've practically lost Anne. I can't lose Sebastian too. Please avoid anything to do with that spellbook.
Those references in the book seem promising.
Everything to do with Salazar Slytherin seems promising until it's too late. I hope Sebastian pursues this no further, but if you think he might, please let me know. It would mean a lot.
Revelio.
Alohomora. Revelio.
Professor, do you have a moment?
I do.
May I ask what attracted you to astronomy?
You may. Might I assume from your inquiry that you wonder how anyone may have an interest in astronomy?
Oh, not at all, Professor. I find it intriguing and wanted to know more about your work.
Ah, that is good to hear. So often those who do not fully understand all that can be gleaned from the stars question astronomy's relevance. Misperceptions frequently arise due to the confusion of astronomy with astrology, the ridiculousness of which I shall not deign to discuss. To answer your question, it was my dear sister who first sparked my interest in stargazing. The two of us spent countless nights on our rooftop staring at the cosmos. It was one of the only subjects we could study together.
I'm not sure I follow, Professor. Why was that?
My sister is a squib. Clever, hardworking, and generous, but a squib nonetheless. The only non-magical child born to our family in generations, poor thing. Although she manages exceptionally well.
It sounds as if she's a lovely person and accomplished.
She is. And to her credit, while she was once disappointed not to attend Hogwarts, she has excelled in Muggle school. One of the first women, we suspect, to have attended Cambridge, well disguised at the time by our mother as a gentleman scholar. And as astronomy is one subject shared between the Muggle world and ours, she and I have been able to maintain that common interest. We still sneak up to a rooftop now and then to gaze upwards, courtesy of a levitation charm rather than a trellis nowadays.
Thank you for telling me about your sister, Professor.
I was glad to. It is good to be reminded of all that one can accomplish when one embraces who one is. Now off you go. I am sure you've a star chart to review somewhere.
Revelio.
Professor, I wondered if I could ask how you came to Hogwarts.
Ah, I suppose that is not an unexpected question. After I told you about my time in Mahutokoro, it was a simple matter of fate, really. After my experience with the Toyohashi Tengu, I was determined to find work that would fulfill me. I accepted a position with the Japanese Ministry of Magic. I cannot tell you the specifics of my work. A few years into my post, I had the honor of working with Professor Weasley, at the time a curse breaker for the British Ministry.
Professor Weasley was a curse breaker for the Ministry.
She was. But I would advise you not to inquire upon it. She is quite clear that her focus is now Hogwarts. We coordinated, shall we say, defensive efforts on a particular matter, and were talking one evening about the rigors of our respective positions. She mentioned plans to return to Britain and Hogwarts specifically. I noted I could appreciate her decision. Her description of the school was so enchanting that when she wrote to me a few years later about the open position of flying professor, I was intrigued.
I suppose I can understand wanting to move on from all that you went through with the Tengu.
But that is not at all what happened. I was not moving on. What happened would always be a part of me. I learned from it. My reason for coming to Hogwarts was to expand my horizons.
Then you enjoy being a flying instructor, even after all that happened?
I do. And not despite all that happened, but because of it. You would do well to let lessons be just that, lessons. Learn from your errors, in judgment or otherwise. I am proud to impart such knowledge upon students, no matter where in the globe they may reside.
Professor, do you have a moment to speak again?
You do realize I have classes to teach. Very well. How may I assist you?
Why did you leave your position as an Auror to come to Hogwarts?
Perhaps you haven't heard the myriad rumors they think I don't hear.
Was it due to a particular interest in potions?
I am in fact an expert in potions. However, my interest was not the reason I came to Hogwarts. I would still be an Auror today if my injury hadn't precluded it. The Ministry was all too ready to keep me on. Buried under parchment, of course, helping run the Auror recruitment program. But if I'm meant for a life confined to a desk, well, I might as well share my expertise while searching for a way to heal my blasted leg. And the Hogwarts Library is not to be underestimated.
You're seeking to heal the damage done to your leg?
As I said, lest you think for a moment that fear played any role in my departure, allow me to enlighten you. It was not fear, but fate that steered my hand.
I'll not let fear dictate my future either.
Well said. However, it's worth noting that fear can be a great motivator and that one must conquer it.
Indeed, sir. Thank you for your time. And I do hope you find a cure for your injury.
Yes. Well, I'm certain you have an empty cauldron waiting for you somewhere.
Yes, Professor, of course.
You can't imagine how inconvenient travel was before I invented flu powder.
Professor, could you tell me how you and Natty ended up at Hogwarts?
I can. That is an easy question. We are here because of Professor Weasley.
You knew Professor Weasley when you were in Uganda?
I knew of Professor Weasley. As you may or may not be aware, Professor Weasley's work once took her around the globe. Without providing detail that is not mine to share, I can say that she was well known in our wizarding community for, well, sharing magical knowledge between countries.
Professor Weasley seems quite knowledgeable, so I'm not surprised to hear that she'd do that sort of thing.
Indeed. Although I suspect there is much about each of your professors that would surprise and impress you. Such exchanges of information, ministry sanctioned or not, have occurred for centuries. It was an African sorcerer, in fact, who shared the unlocking charm with a certain wizard from London. A thief, rather unfortunately.
I see.
But, back to your original question. Professor Weasley had heard of my work and life in Matabeleland and my time teaching at Ouagadougou. She was deputy headmistress at Hogwarts by then, and when the position of divination professor became available, she contacted me. Her timing was perfect. I'd just foreseen a change in Nat's size and my circumstances and knew that we needed to leave Uganda. Natsai was as ready as I was for a new adventure. So, off we went.
Natty has spoken of your move. She was quite kind to me my first day here, in Charms.
That sounds like Natsai. I'm glad she has found a friend in you. Now, I must return to my work. As I've told Natsai, do be careful. I had a vision earlier this year of her with a friend, flying on winged beasts. Perhaps unsurprisingly, she will neither confirm nor deny my visions, unless it suits her.